So in this lesson, we're just going to look at using some simple shapes to build something. So for your task and for your submission, I'd like you to build a simple house. I'd like that house to have things like doors, windows, steps, and a chimney. So once you've done all these, you can export it as something like a PNG will be absolutely fine. So you can come down to the export and then you can save it as a PNG. So let's have a look at this then. So the first thing we need to do is come over to our arrow tool and select the man. We no longer need the man, so if we just press our delete button, we can get rid of him. Now using the middle mouse button, let's just zoom and pan a little bit. So if I hold down shift and press down the middle mouse, I'm just going to pan it over just so I can see this area. So I'm going to build my first shape from this point here, and we're going to kind of make it as big as we want to. So let's just zoom out, let's kind of get it into the area that I want it to. And this can, how you set up your screen is up to you, and you're going to find that you're going to be zooming and panning and rotating a lot. So the next thing we need to do is go to our shapes. So if we come over to this left hand panel and we can come down to this tool here, which is our basic shapes. It's currently set to a rectangle, and then if we click on this, we can just click the rectangle if it's not. We also have a rounded corners rectangle, we have a circle, we have a polygon, and we have some text. So we're just going to keep this really simple and just click a rectangle. So the rectangle is going to form the base. So if I click once and then drag out until I'm happy, you'll notice at the bottom right hand side, as I keep dragging, the dimensions of the house change. We'll learn how to use that a bit more in a minute, so I'm not really too worried about being too accurate. So let's make something like this, and now if I click again, it will release the shape and it will create my first plane. You can extend upon this if you want to, but we're just going to create something very simple. So we're now going to look at the pull push tool. So the pull push tool is the one below. It's this one here, and it allows us to make a shape bigger or make a shape smaller. So the one we're going to use is this one on the top, and we're going to click on the rectangle we've just done. We're going to pull it upwards, and this is going to create our first box shape. Nice and easy, and we can use the pull push tool a lot. So if we want to change the dimensions, we can do that now just by clicking on any of these sides. We can move them up or down. It's a really powerful and really flexible tool. So if you want to pause the video and just have a practice at that, do that now. So in the next one, we're going to look at creating our roof. So once again, we're going to look at a very simple tool just for kind of intersecting shapes and making different shapes. And this tool is the pencil tool. So if we click on this one here, or the line tool, and we just want the straight line tool. Now, as we hover over any edges, oops, let's undo that. I didn't mean to click that. If we hover over any edges, we get all these different kind of colors. So we've got a green one that indicates we're on an end point. We've got a red one that tells us that we're on an edge and we're on an axis. And then we've got this green one in the middle, which has a circle, which tells us we're on a midpoint. And then if we come over here, we'll have another green one that tells us we're on an end point. Now, in order to create our roof, I'm going to click on this midpoint. So when it goes green, I'm just going to click once, and then I'm going to find my way over to the midpoint on this one. And the good thing about SketchUp is it finds those points for us really quickly and really easily. And because it's a midpoint we want, it will make it. So I'll click now, and it will create some new vertices so that we can actually do something with it. So from here, we're going to go to the arrow tool, and we're going to select this so it goes blue. We're now going to need to go to the move tool, which is this one here. Now the move tool is a local tool, so it's local to the object. So we have move, we have rotate, and we have scale. Unlike the one at the bottom here, which is the global object, this is for the object that we've got currently selected. So we click on the move, and if I hover over this end point, I can just drag it upwards, and you'll notice I can just create my shape. I can move it as much as I want. It's giving me indicators of where I want it to be placed. So that's nice and easy. And I've got the shape for my house now. So let's just pan around and let's just see how this is looking. So it's looking fairly decent. And I would definitely practice that particular move. So using the pencil tool to create your midpoint, and then create another midpoint, and then using your arrow tool to select what you've just created, and then using the move tool to move that object in any way you want it to be. So once again, we can get some really nice, interesting shapes here. So what I'd like you to do now is just pause the video and just practice that. That will take you a little bit of time, so just bear with it if you haven't quite got it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at then is how to make shapes on top of shapes. So if we click on the rectangle again, and we just select the rectangle shape, and we can create a shape anywhere we want. So if we just click, and if you notice, as I move it around, it wants to snap to a surface. And that's a really good thing in the 3D world, because if it snaps to a surface, it means we can put things in like doors and put things in like windows. So let's do that now. Let's include some kind of window. So let's put it here. So let's click once, and then let's move it over until we get the shape we roughly want, and there we have it. We have our shape there. If you're not completely happy, you can go to the arrow tool and you can select the line you want, and then with the move tool you can actually come onto that line and you can move it and you can reshape it however you want. If you want to make it a bit bigger, mind just snapping though, because it will kind of change. So let's just zoom in, make sure that's not gone wrong. You can always press Ctrl Z if it does. So now we're happy with that. Let's go to our pull push and let's just push it in a little bit, just so it creates some kind of window. So there we have it. We have a window shape. Now your mission is going to be, so if you want to practice that, do that now. Pause the video and do that now. So your mission is going to be to create a house. So I want to show you one more thing, and that is how to create a chimney. So if we come onto this other plane here, so let's just turn it right round, and we're going to create a chimney on this side. So we're going to use the line tool for this, and this is where the line tool comes in really useful. So we can create our first axis anywhere on the roof, and you can see it's pinging to it, it's snapping to it. So let's just say we create our first one here. Now as we go up, you'll notice that I've got a blue line, and you'll notice that this is the same color as the blue line that's going up. So we're going to create a blue line. We know we want a blue line, so we click once. Now I'm going to press escape, and I'm going to create another line down here somewhere, and then I'm going to come up again, and you'll notice that it shows me the point at which I need to click next in order to create the next shape, the next straight line. So I click once, and then I come across and I click again, and now I have a shape that kind of resembles a chimney. It doesn't have any kind of thickness to it at the moment, so let's do that now. Let's go to our pull push tool, let's grab it, and let's make a bit of thickness to it for our chimney. Now the next thing is, it's probably not in the right place. We want it in the middle of the house, for instance. So let's just grab this a bit more, and let's grab the other axis and let's pull it in, and there we go. We have our chimney. We have these two extra lines which we don't need, so let's use the erase tool now, and let's just get rid of them, get rid of that. So that's as far as I'm going to take this tutorial. What I'd like you guys to do now is make some steps, make some more windows, make a door or two, and be as adventurous as you want. So if you want to make a different shape on your house, you know, try some other things out. If you want to make two houses, try some other things out. Once you've done that, I would like you to export it, and I'll tell you what, I'll make another video showing you some of the options for exporting. So give it a go, practice, rewatch the video as much as you need to, and I'll see you in the next bit.